they lay a bunch of eggs. Every day it seems like they're putting out eggs. Need I say more about trapping small game than hickory tree? Trap down in. But you don't see many trucks like that on them hunting shows, do you? Hood up, full of wood in the back. Well, I thought I'd give you all a quail update. I know you guys have been asking a lot of questions about him. I've got a couple of different pens now. First, I changed how I incubate them. I took my incubator and sectioned it off into 4 sections, labeled them 1, 2, 3, and 4. I got a picture of it right here. As you can see, it's in the house now, so I can regulate the temperature better. It just got too hot out here, so now about every 4 or 5 days, I'm getting a couple hatched out, and I'm not having to hold my eggs for the 16, 17, 18 days it takes to hatch them out. I'm not having to keep them eggs and put them all in there, you know, put 40 eggs in and maybe hatch out 10. This way I can put in a smaller amount at a time. In section 1 I'll put 12 or so, in section 2, and every 4 days I'm alternating sections. By the time I put those at number 4 setting in there, the 1 are getting ready to hatch, and I can pull them out, put another hatch in there, so I'm not having to hold on to my eggs for over 2 weeks. Trying to up production a little bit until I can get another incubator. The best would be to have multiple incubators doing this. You need as many incubators as you have cages. That's probably the way it should be. I've got these 2 separated. They're my whites, and they were with my breeders, but they were constantly fighting. I got a rooster and a hen, and the rooster was constantly fighting with the brown rooster. And then so I took him out because he's smaller, and I wanted the brown rooster because he's bigger to do the breeding. Well, he refused to breed the white hen, so I put them together, hopefully get some white chicks. I've only hatched out 1 white chick in all of this time, and it died. So I want some white ones. So, but I got this pen here now for I can only keep them in the brooder for the max 3 weeks right now, because 1, I'm continually every 4 or 5 days I'm putting new ones in there. 2, it's just too hot. I've been having them die of heat in there after about 3 weeks. Once they get their full plumage on, I put them out here in this pen, and they'll go there for a couple weeks. And then I'll take them to my grow out pen, which I'll show you here in a minute. So you got the incubator, and what I used to section that off was just 3/4 inch plywood cut into strips. Just lay it in there. Just has to keep the eggs from rolling into each other. And when the chicks hatch, they'll run all over. They can get anywhere in there. But man, I tell you what, boy, it is hot today. So what I do is incubate them in the sections and take them to the brooder, which I showed you on an earlier video. I made that homemade. I let them get their full plumage on 2, 3 weeks. Now when it gets colder, I might keep them in there longer, or take this inside, but we'll worry about that when it gets colder. Then I take them from that brooder into this pen, which gets them a little further along before I put them in the grow out pen where the quail are a little bigger. And I'll take you to the grow out pen right now. This is my grow out pen. I just had this box laying around, and that's the top to it. I left that part of the top on, split it down the middle, so now that's a lid. Then on this side, I took the lid off, and this is all mesh. It was chicken wire, but my goat got on there and almost tore it up, so I put this expanded metal on there, hopefully to keep him from tearing it up. It's out here by the breeding pen. So this is my grow out pen, and you be sure if you got a solid structure like this, you put a lot of holes in it. You want airflow in there. They don't need a lot. They regulate their cooling pretty good. It's been 100 degrees or better, and I ain't had nothing die in here. So that's good. And you know, in the wintertime, you don't want it getting too cold. I might pile some hay up around here and block these holes off. But I got half a dozen in here, and they're doing really good. They're really growing out good. And I got one up here. I got a butcher, so we'll go do that too. Alright, the reason we're butchering this one is because I put them other ones in there, and he was all over them. You know, he's too big to be. Those are other ones I put in there are a little smaller than him, and he just got real aggressive. And it's about time for him to go anyway. So this is pretty much just like a breasting a duck or a dove. You just expose that breast, break out your trusty clippers, poke a hole in the, separate the insides from the guts, and I turn them one way, clip that wing joint, turn them another way, clip that wing joint, get that end off of me, and that's it. Then you just pull that sucker up. You got your breast there, heart intact. Pick that little bit, feathers off. So I butchered him a little earlier than I wanted to, but it'll save the rest of them smaller quail from having to put up with him. And he could hurt them. So, and he was about 11 weeks, so it's about time for him to go anyway. And then I got this awesome carcass here. And I'll put them in there, freeze him up for trapping bait. Nothing gets wasted around here. Hopefully pretty soon, a few more weeks, we'll be adding more to it. Wild for the Outdoors is proudly sponsored by Deep South Trapping Lures. Smell the difference.
Okay, maybe. It's big thing.